Okay, so I'm just looking at the week 7 assignment. So this is the final draft of the argument research paper in the APA guidelines, and then there is this document. Yeah. So this is, and I think I might have put this up earlier also, but it's the checklist. I think you actually saw this because it's a checklist that you did for week 5 for your rough draft. So they're giving us this um to help guide us. Let me see here. Oops, I don't really want to do that. Um, yeah, the rubrics exactly. It's the same. It's just more points for everything because of this. Let me see. I must have I bet let's try. So this is all about the discussion. Well, this is strange. Let me see. Maybe I just made it up. So this is the lesson. So yeah, there's the things for like the planner for the week, which people I like happened. I like those, but like making little schedules, like little days. But I know like most people do that in general because that's how we all like figure out what we're doing in life. Well, this is a little bit okay. Revision workshopping. That's for the discussion, right? All right, I know this is very. I just thought they would have had guidance. Is that the same thing we looked at? But there's no. So there are those two things. Good revision. So that's the revision time plan, right? With your rewards put in there. So that's just an example of one. And then this one you can download for yourself. So it's a blank one. Okay, I'm going to then. Oh, levels of revision. Oh, okay. So I did do this for everybody. Oh, I know. I'm such a hero. I know. So they go through all of these different elements, the different levels for revision. And so what I decided to do, since there was no document, and I can follow those easier myself. So I've put this together in a document that I think is comprehensible and explains each of the levels of revision and what you're basically looking for. So, for example, so level 1 is global. And the concept behind this really is that you start very broad with revising, and then you take a step in, another step in, and another step in, meaning like big, broad main argument stuff. Like is you're making sure that you have your thesis statement and you have your three main areas are pretty good. Like you're solid with those. So it's sort of those just basic. Do you have the parts of the big paper in place? Um, and then I just suggested these things over here on the side, right? These are like little hints. You don't have to do this, obviously, but it's like little ways to make sure that your main point's clear. Oh, my contact. Okay. Um, so anyway, global revision, organization. You're sort of making sure everything exists that needs to exist, right? You have all the pieces in play. You have an introduction. You have a conclusion. You have like three areas that you deal with. So then you move to the section. So now section revision is like now you're going to focus on and pay attention to each like specific section, like the introduction. Am I doing everything I need to do in the introduction? Do I have a hook? Do I end with my thesis? Things like that. My first main point. let me look at my first main point. Do I have a topic sentence? Do I give evidence? Da, da. So then you just look at that in the conclusion, right? And questions to ask yourself: do you have opposing views? Are you are those in there? Are they in a section? Did you put them in the second one and the third one, or whichever? Questions you have, like, do you need more evidence, maybe, and so on. So that's section revisions, right? So you got introduction, main points, and conclusion. Now we're getting a step even smaller. Now we're looking at paragraph revisions, because it's true that the introduction is also one paragraph, but in the main part of the paper, it's quite possible that you are going to, you're going to talk about or develop one of your supporting ideas or one of your main ideas, and you actually use more than one paragraph to do that. So this is now looking at paragraphs, but also paragraphs in and of themselves. Do they have the topic sentence introducing the main idea? And then sort of as the paragraph develops, like, another explanation statement, is there now evidence? You brought in a quote, did you set it up, things like that. So now you're just looking at it as a paragraph itself. So it's a different lens, right? Looking at sections means, like, is the introduction doing what it's doing, needs to be doing? Looking at it as a paragraph means, like, does this paragraph work? Is it like, are the sentences like flowing from one to the next? So you're sort of, it's just a shift in perspective in order to see what you might want to improve. So I got section revision, I got paragraph revision, and then I got sentence revision. So now we're even step closer, that we're now trying to look at each sentence, right? To make sure that it's a sentence, first of all, right? But also, is it grammatical? Is it grammatically correct? Is it do my sentences vary? Because one of the things we're learning is that if you vary the length of sentences, like you use a mixture of short sentences and long and so on, your writing is automatically better. So that's something that you're looking at. Are my connections smooth? Do I use many short sentences? And is it too choppy? So this is the idea of the levels, right? Global, I have all the pieces there for my essay, like the pieces are there. Then I'm looking at the sections, which is now I'm sort of looking at each piece to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Introduction, supposed to, bring up the subject, give enough context, explain what you're going to argue and maybe the areas that you're going to argue or discuss. Then you look at it as a paragraph. So how does it work as a paragraph? Is it all together? Is it have one central idea? Because that's the other thing. Each paragraph should basically be developing one main idea. So I always tell people, one trick is to, if you ever have a paragraph, you basically, you never want a paragraph that is longer than like 2/3 of a page double spaced. So if you have a paragraph that's like an entire page double spaced, you need to go in there and figure out where it is that you can break it, because it's almost guaranteed that there's more than one idea, so that there's a place where you can break and start a new paragraph. So that would be part of the paragraph revision world, making sure that, right, you don't have super, super long paragraphs and that you break them up so that they are as clear as possible. And then sentences. Now you have your paragraphs and you're looking at your sentences, and this is where you're just checking, do your sentences flow together? Are you doing the thing where you introduce evidence, where you set it up and then you introduce it and then you sort of explain it? Okay, and then levels 5 and 6, which they still talk about, that's the like editing. See, section revision. So this is what they are explaining. Levels of revision. This is what they're explaining in the lesson for week 7. Okay, and so all I did was I went through it and read it, obviously, and then tried to put it in a format that I thought would be more helpful, right? So I divided it up into the different levels, and then tried to describe what you're looking for, some questions you might ask for each of the levels. The last two levels, I said 5 and 6. So those are sort of grammatical and editing. That's level 4. Let me see. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. Okay, right. So level 5 is word revisions, right? So we did sentences, and then there's word. And then the last, actually, I should probably put word, but I don't know. I guess and then level 6 is, maybe I'll just copy them. The just typos, editing, overall impact, I suppose, is part of that. And one suggestion I have was using the service called Grammarly, which I don't know if people know about or not. I think I might have put it up earlier on as a thing. Okay. And then 5 is word revisions. Like word choice, making sure you're using. But here's so my suggestion was, if you have not used Grammarly, that you do, because what it can do sometimes, it gives you unnecessary information. Okay, so, and it's free as far as what we use it for, and they try to get you to subscribe, but you don't have to subscribe to anything. Trying to see if I can set up add to Chrome, because it already knows I have. So if I log in, right, I don't have an account. You just give them an email, and you can use pretty much anyone you want. You'll get a thing where you have to, verify that your email is you and all that. And then you get into Grammarly, and this is what it will look like. Maybe. So here's what you will what you will do. So you go here to the new upload thing, but I copy and paste everything, right? Let me see if I have something I can, I don't have any actual writings, I guess. Well, let's take this person's. There we go. Okay, so what I do is I do Control All or Command All, and then Command copy it, and then I go to Grammarly and I paste it there. And so it's in there. I probably shouldn't show her name. I don't know. So, okay. And so here's what you look at. If you don't worry about any of this stuff really yet, you can look at it later. So I just click on it. So my overall score, and this is out of 100, I believe, right? So that it's giving me a 61 out of 100. Now, sometimes that can be because like I'm using an unfamiliar word, like someone's name, and they say it's unfamiliar, and so they count that against me. All right. So, but in general, here's the idea. Down here, you'll see it says download PDF report. So if you click on that, it'll generate a download that you can then see, and I'll show you. So it tries to break it down, common misuse, determiners, but it's better because you can go through it goes through the essay and it marks where there's an issue, right? And like I said, sometimes the issue is it's not really a problem, and sometimes it's something I need to fix. Here are the suggestions, right? So my first thing, there's a common misuse within clauses. Right. So anyway, you'll have this document. I go over here and I go, okay. Um, oh, September. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, so for some reason this is not correct, but so I can correct that. Um, and so what I would probably do if it was me is I would open my report and then I would also open my actual essay, right? Sort of put them side by side and then just go through and wherever it says, there's one that I need to pay attention to, I'll look at it and see if it's um, something that I need to worry about and fix. So I can just fix it right then. So anyway, that's why I call it Grammarly, and I also use it use it for the word choice because sometimes it'll say you're not really using the right word here. Um, there's a bunch of things like low skill that should be hyphenated, right? These are all sort of small mistakes, but again, if you fix them, then good. Okay. Oh, prowriting.com. Okay, I've never heard of that. That's good. That's another one. So Grammarly's also free because I haven't done anything, paid anything or whatever. I keep thinking that they'll run out. They also say, they could give me even more information if I do a paid version, but I'm pretty good with I don't need premium because I just need it for this. It underlines mistakes. But that's good to know about another one. Pro writing. Okay, good. All right, so those are the levels of revision. And so when you're doing you're supposed to do your reward plans based on after certain levels. All right, boss, look see with this. Um, so essentially, and let me make sure I have posted this one too. Ah.